Here we are back again, and I'm trying to do this with too much stuff in my hands. The heat gun down. Now, one thing to watch when you are purchasing your heat shrink tubing is you buy it large enough to go over this joint you're soldering, or the repair you're going to be making in the wire, but not so large that when it shrinks down, it won't shrink down tight. I think we're at the stage we were before we were interrupted by the old fuse holder giving up, so I'm just going to apply heat to this tubing. Shrink at the full length and all the way around. Trying not to burn my fingers with the heat gun. So, I think that, right in the wire there, is our new fuse holder installed, and the wires insulated so they shouldn't short out. So I'm just going to move the camera here. So now I'm going to pull this wire back up in to the control box here, the black box. There's a piece of insulating cloth on it. Pull the wire back in. So it went around to there. I'll pull it back in maybe a little more than need be. Now I need to find the screw and that little. So I've got the screw and the little, I'm going to call it a ferrule. This may not be the correct name. So the way this went together was this wire was on this terminal, and this wire was on it, and then this was on top of it. So I'm going to put the screw through all three of these, and then start the screw by hand in the terminal on the starter solenoid, if it will start for me. There we go, I think, yes. Okay, so we want that cable, that insulating sleeve should, I think, be up here. But anyway, we can do that in a moment. I'll tighten the screw. Screw with the lock washer and flat washer on top of this cable, the ferrule, and the other cable. And we want to tighten that tight, but we don't want to break anything. Put our insulator there, so that is ready to go back in. Now while I'm here, I'm just going to check some other ground screws here. This control box has gotten rusty. So there may be a ground connection or two that's not as good as it should be. Again, I'm working with no battery connected because our battery ground cable has been removed, so we can replace it. There. That screw was tight. I might as well check these other screws. Make sure they're tight. The wire is back where it was. Our new fuse holder is in. So we'll come back when there's more light here and put the cover back on the black box, put it back in place, connect it up, and see if this engine will crank over both directions fairly consistently. Okay, we're back to the Penguin, and I think we're ready to start putting the control box back in. So I stuck the cover screw in the hole here, and there was another screw over here. It was the wrong size, and I had to cut it to remove it. I don't have a replacement handy, so I'm just going to leave that screw out for the moment. Actually, I think I'll put the one in the back in. So I'll put the one I have, which is the correct size, in the back. And if I happen across one of the right size, I'll put in this hole, which might be accessible after I get this in. When the cover goes on, we want to make sure this grommet and this grommet are in place. And this is a tangle of wires. So that screw in the back. What will be the hole at the back here. And when I remove the other screw, I'm positive it was the wrong thread. It sure looked like the wrong thread. So I had to cut it. Sorry. I had to cut it here. And of course the top part came off, and then there was a little bit of the screw sticking through here. So I grabbed it with a pair of locking pliers and spun it out. Hopefully this screw still will tighten. Yes, that's tightened up. So that cover is secure for our purposes. So now I've got to thread this back in here. And so I've got a positive cable, which has been pulled right out. And that should go. There's a hole right beside the engine here. That goes down through. We've got some clutch cable and the choke and throttle cable here to work around too. So this control box goes in with this grommet facing the engine. That cover isn't quite in the right spot. The grommet's not quite on there. So this grommet faces the center of the machine. I'll have to set that in, and that went in actually pretty nicely, but we're not done yet. So that positive cable goes to the head. We still have all of the wires that were joined to the dash. The one we patched, or I should say repaired, one of them. So we have the other ones here. So we have the gray, the black, well, the gray, the brown, the black, and the blue. Plus we have our red. So those, we have a spark plug wire here. I'm just going to set that on there to get it out of the way. And then I'll get the head. Spot to work in. So there's our repaired battery positive. Okay, so I've fed that through and pulled it up beside the seat here. Other wires. through this hole by the seat. You can see it. I've got my arm there. There's 3. That's the red. There should be one more here. There should be 5 altogether before we connect the neutral indicator light, which makes a grand total of 6. Wow, that one wire. Really reluctant. And through the hole by the seat here. Only one, eh? Only one. No, that's not the yellow wire, because the yellow wire is still in the cover, which isn't on the engine. Okay. I think I've got 5 wires here. Okay, so I'll move the camera. So the control box is sitting more or less in place. So we'll just move the camera here. Follow along with me. Okay, so now we're at the edge of the seat. Put the camera position here so you can see what I'm doing. That's the side cover with the points we're not ready for yet. Okay, so here we have the positive battery cable that we repaired. We have the blue wire, the gray wire, the brown wire, and the black wire. And here we have the connector they all plug into. So we'll start with the brown and blue are here at the bottom. So we'll put the blue is a dark blue. This is a bright blue, and this is a dark blue. And I think I'll get something to push them in with. Just make sure they're seated. So I'll just use my trusty screwdriver here. Okay, so there's the blue wire, hitting with the blue wire. And that is the generator light. So we want the bullet in as far as it'll go, at least in to the insulation there. And the wires are going to disappear on us again. Some more. Yes, and the next wire we want is gone. Okay, there it is. So there's our brown wire, which I believe is the wire that works the reversing solenoid. So we want to push that in. Then we have the black wire and the white wire. Now, the black wire is absolutely the black wire on this side. Black wire, black wire. And the red wire goes to this faded red wire. So we have the white wire and the yellow wire. So the white wire is for the white wire that goes to the front is for the neutral indicator. So that would have the yellow wire on this side. So the gray wire goes to the yellow wire over here. Okay, so that should be all except the yellow wire for the neutral indicator, which is here. It's still in the side cover that we haven't installed yet because the points aren't clean. Okay, so that's the wiring tucked in there for now. And down here in our battery box, camera will sit for us. Somewhere in this hole, I'll just pull this battery out for now. Find our battery cables. Oh, look at that, there's the positive battery cable right there. So now we can run our negative battery cable. So there is our old battery cable. We're replacing it because some of the insulation has come off of it, making it very dangerous. This is the end. The bare end would be at the battery. So I went to my local auto parts store and found they call it a switch to starter battery cable, so it has two lugs on it, no end to go on a battery post. And this one's 4 gauge and it's 48 inches long, so it is approximately the same size. The wire is the same size, is in the same gauge or the thickness of the wire. So there's the original one is bare here, and there's the new one. If anything, it appears slightly thicker. That may just be the insulation, but when we're talking wires, it's better to go with a thicker one, less likely to cause problems with resistance and overheating. So now this wire, this negative battery wire, has to go from the engine up here. So we're back to the engine. And where it goes normally on the engine is on this stud, which is the stud. This stud holds the transmission onto the crankies, and we want that cable. Well, I'm going to feed that cable through under the cooling shroud here. There's a plate in the side cover. I'm going to feed that through there, and it's just curling around up there. So I'm going to put my shoulder in the camera, feed that through here underneath the seat. Let's try to get it out into the battery box. Now, all we're going to have is duct goes under the seat. It does not have a hole in it. So I'm going to feed this through the air duct and beside the engine. I don't want to feed it through this exact same hole as the positive battery cable. And I've just got a feel for it under the driver's seat here. There's pieces of the insulation from the cable. I'm sure that cable is there. I just need to reach through here. There we go. Can't see what I'm doing here, so I hope you can't see what I'm doing. Okay, so reached in and pulled the negative cable, what will be the negative cable, up through the hole in the battery compartment. I'm just going to secure it there gently with a piece of wire. And then we can connect. Take the nut off of the stud and put battery cable on there. Then we have the wire from the ground wire from the lights, and we should have a ground wire from the control box. There it is right there. So we'll put that, I'm trying to put this neatly here. These wonderful wires that are all the same color. It's a little hard to keep track of what's what, so we want battery cable, the ground cable for the light SA. That's actually the ground cable for the headlight, tail light, horn. Snug that up hand tight, and then somewhere I have a wrench for that. Okay, so we have the wrench for that. That is a 1/4 inch British Standard wrench. Try not to twist those wires all around here. When we get this tight, and we want it reasonably tight. Oh, I've got that wound around something. That looks like I do. We'll tuck them in behind the air filter. There's our coil. Ignition wires for the points. We don't quite need yet because our points are still in our side cover. If this repair has done the trick, the next thing will be to clean the points and reinstall that side cover. And then hopefully we'll get to hear this engine run. Just trying to hold the wire from spinning as I tighten the nut here. Oh yeah, well, I'm going to replace that fuel line while we're here. Okay, now I'm going to set the battery back in. And I'll connect the battery while nobody's looking, and we'll come back in a moment and see if we can get this thing here to spin both directions. Okay, so I skipped ahead a little bit here, and what I did was, of course, I was putting the black box in, I connected the battery up, and when I turned the key to the on position, the generator light did not light up. And that was the problem we were having to start with before I repaired this wire here. You can just barely see the end of it. So what I've done is I pulled the black box back out. The black box is still grounded to the engine. The battery cable is connected to the ground cable. I've connected my test light to the positive cable, to the positive terminal on the battery, and if I connect the test light to the terminal on the battery cable and touch the live, well, what should be the live wire with the fuse, I'm going to use the fuse and touch it to ground, I don't get anything. So there's no power. The power has to go through my test light. So now, if I take the test light and put it inside the insulation and touch this, I get power. So what that tells me is, even though I am working with live wires here, I've got to be careful I don't touch anything where I shouldn't. This terminal lug, it's well on there, and it feels firm, but the wire in there is discolored. It's not shiny copper, so this is corroded to the point where it's not making contact. So I'm going to have to get a new lug on there, which may have been our problem all along, although it was good to find the old fuse holder was weak. So I'm going to have to get a terminal lug installed on that cable. And I don't have one handy, so we'll be back.